Now, you may or may not care about this, but Chapter 2 of the handout that I gave you, as you can see, the one that you got, this is from your PDF. It's called How to Use Eclipse for Android Development. As I told you, I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go right into Chapter 3, which is on how to develop your first app. Well, the second edition of this book took this chapter that we're going to go through now and broke it up into 2 chapters. Make sense? I want to do this very slowly, very deliberately, because this is the first time we are creating something from scratch. Some people are going to get it, and boom, they're just going to run with it. Other people may struggle with it. So let's just take our time. Again, ideally, when we get done, this is what we're going to have if you look on the screen. All right? You're going to have an edit text widget, and that's where you're going to put your input. You're going to have 2 buttons. Everything else that's in here is a text view. What we used to call labels are now called text views. What we used to call text boxes are now called edit text, because it's a different software. They use their own names. Plus, we're going to set it up with a soft keyboard. Not just a soft keyboard, but a numeric soft keyboard. All right? So that's what we desire. That's what we want to do with this. All right. So as it says, this will get you off to a fast start, etc., etc. Teach you the Java skills. Well, you know what? There's really very few Java skills in here that you don't already have. All right. As Evan mentioned earlier, you know, it's like putting the right code in the right place is pretty darn important. Because if you don't, the system just, typically you won't get an error. Just nothing will happen when you run the program. Well, that's not very good. All right. So we're going to start by developing the user interface. Again, as mentioned, that text view that we're going to use, that's what we had been calling a label in other languages. The edit text is what we had been calling a text box in the other language. All right? For whatever reason, it's always been kind of the rule, so to speak, that these controls are referred to in Java EEs as widgets. Again, you may care, you may not care, but I'm just telling you that because that's just the way that it is. So again, this is what we're going to attempt to build. All right? What's going to happen is when you click on here, that's where the focus is going to go, and you're going to be able to click on here if you look up on the screen and then use the soft keyboard to enter input into there. All right? Now, am I correct in assuming that we can all, from right here, we can all, if you've got a project open, that you can close it and you can get to right here? All right? So let's everybody do that. Let's everybody get to where you're at the opening Android Studio window that you see right here. All right, let's start a new Android project. For the name, we're going to call it Tip Calculator. Tip space calculator. For the domain name, again, mine, jpscott@rankin.edu. If for some reason, I think that Colin was the one who asked this question, if that really bugs you, if you don't want that, you could literally put anything in there. The idea behind having you do it this way and having you put it in whether you're using reverse name notation or regular name notation, the idea is that it should not conflict with anybody else who has an app of the same name because your package name is different. This, for whatever reason, this has just kind of become the standard way of doing it. All right? So I've got all that stuff in there. And also notice here it says include C++ support. You can barely even see that. You're never going to want to, in this class, do that unless you are going to do some kind of a project where you would be working. Remember yesterday we looked at those different layers you know, and on the bottom was the kernel, etc. All right. If you were doing something that was working with the operating system, then you'd want to check this. I never have. All right. Yes. Is there? Okay. I'll take your word for it. Well, let's see if I can't make that any smaller. So, all right. And we're not going to worry about that for now either. All right. So we're going to click Next. And we're right here. We want it to be phone and tablet. All right. If you don't like that for a minimum, Android 4.0, and you're like, it should be more than that, then click the down arrow and change it. It's really not that big of a thing. But again, we don't have any reason to be clicking any of the rest of the stuff that's here and selecting anything. So I'm just going to make sure phone and tablet is checked, and I'm going to use the default that they show right here. And I'm going to go to Next. All right. We're going to go in and we're going to choose an empty activity, which again is the default. All right, so we're going to click Next again, and that brings us to right here. All right, and instead of calling it main activity, since this is a tip calculator, we will call it tip calculator activity. So that'll mean that you will have a tip calculator activity, and your layout name will be activity underscore tip underscore calculator. Again, its own kind of reverse domain notation, so to speak. So we started up Android Studio. We entered a name for the application and for the project, etc. We selected the minimum SDK for the project. We selected empty activity for the template. We just entered a name for our activity. We are done. So we can click the Finish button to bring us right here. Now it's building that thing. It's using Gradle to build this stuff in the background. So if it comes up and it looks pretty much like this. Now, if yours doesn't look like this, don't let it throw you. First of all, if I'm in here, notice it brought up my Java file. I can go back to my XML file, but it says waiting for this to build. All right, that's why it's bringing up the Java one first. And I noticed this yesterday. If you look up on the screen, notice that R in there is red and it says cannot resolve. All right, that's been a problem forever with anything that you work on with Android. Typically what happens is it'll resolve itself. If that bugs you, you can try to do a build and tell it to do a build, clean the project and then rebuild it. That may or may not fix it. But what is supposed to happen is it's supposed to reconcile itself when you actually go and do the run. All right? It's, again, taking a real long time, kind of like it did yesterday. All right. I'm kind of hamstrung here until that happens. I mean, I can't start drawing the interface, but as we talked about, I can go over to manifests, all right, and I can open this up if I want to, need to, have to, or whatever, and I can look at what's in here. These are pretty much your global settings for the project. There should be very little stuff that you have to do here to change. There's a good chance that you can write a lot of these and never have to change anything. Now, when you go through and do that other project, that fortune teller that we just looked at, you are going to have to come in here, and in here, you're going to they show you what to do. You're going to have to add the orientation, all right, and make sure that it's portrait. All right. Other things that you might want to do in here, there are certain things that you can change, all right, but there are other windows in which you can change those. So it's recommended that you do as little in the manifest file as possible. All right. Again, what we're concerned with is the tip calculator activity, not the one in the Android test file, not the one in the test file, but the one here. All right. We're going to start looking at that in just a bit. All right. We also have this res folder. And I mentioned this the other day. I know this is review. I'd rather review it. But this drawable that's right here, notice that right now all that's in there is launcher stuff. but you put images and you put other stuff in here also. All right? Layout, well, it should be obvious. That's where this file is. The activity tip calculator XML file, because this file, that file is a layout file. All right? So it's in the layout folder. The map has got some more stuff for the launcher. That's something fairly new. I never worked with that before. All right? And then the values that we talked about. That's your colors.xml file, your strings.xml file, and your styles.xml file. I don't believe in this project we touch any of those except the strings one. All right? I don't remember touching color in here. But when you're all done, if you don't like the color of your tip calculator, you could always change it. All right, if I wanted to be, make it my Packer colors, I could make a background I could find Packer green, and I could have the text be in Packer gold or something like that. All right. So we want to open up an existing layout. I just showed you how to do it. Okay. You can add other layouts in here too. You can customize the layout that's in here. We are going to change what's in here quite a bit as we go on. All right. Notice now, there it is. Mine's finally up. All right. Now, yours might take longer. Yours might come up faster. It's not a race. What is that? It's a marathon. It's not a sprint type of an idea. All right. We'll all get it to work. Okay. When you first open up your layout, you might get an error message that says it's having problems rendering the layout. If that happens, again, you might have to go back and do a build and do a clean or whatever. There's all sorts of things. One of my students put this to me a couple years ago, and they said, when you use this, it's kind of like the software is kind of like an error just waiting to happen. All right, and it's like you don't have to do anything, and you can just start getting errors. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with that. Right? I've got to quick free up some storage space, so give me a second here. Now, I think you all know this already, okay? If you want to come in and, if I don't want this anymore, so this hello world, if I don't want that anymore, there's a lot of ways I can get rid of it. The easiest way to get rid of a widget that you don't want anymore, the easiest way for you to get rid of those is to just highlight it and hit the delete key. All right? So it's gone. Boom. The easiest way to go and add a widget is to just sit there and drag it from the palette over here and drag it right on to your window right here. So, let's see. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, and I think this is the one we're going to want to use, is I believe we're going to want to use a relative layout. The easiest way to use a relative layout, and that's what we'll start with, is notice right now it's a constraint layout. That's why it's throwing all that stuff. Unless you set constraints, it's throwing it all up in the upper corner. So I'm going to sit there and I believe I can just delete that. Nah, it might not let me. I'm going to go to relative layout up here. I'm just going to drag it in here and let it go. And it should fill up the whole screen. Okay? Now some of you weren't watching when I did that. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go over here and under layouts in my palette, I'm going to find the relative layout, click on it, drag, and let go. Please do that. Right down here, you mean? Yes. And you're going to see as we start putting stuff in there, that's exactly the way it's going to look. I don't know enough about Photoshop that I can say it's like that or it's not like that. Okay?
And the other one, that other screen, it shows you like all the layers at once. So like, say you had some on top of those ones, it would still show you like the outlines of them.
Okay. Now remember what this is supposed to look like. Okay? Remember what this is supposed to look like. And what I mean is, this is what we want to build. So this is what I'm going to do. In the order in which you do this, is it going to matter? This is the order I'm going to do it. I'm going to grab here. So again, I'm going to grab the text view tool, and I'm going to put a text view. That's going to be this. I'm going to do that first. Then I'm going to go over to the edit text, and I'm going to grab that, and that's going to be put there. All right? Then I'm going to grab another text view, and I'm going to put it there. And then I'm going to grab another text view, and I'm going to put it there. Then I'm going to grab two button tools, and I'm going to put them there, and I'm going to put them there. What you might find out as you're putting the stuff in is it might be where it's not exactly the way it looks on my screen. Don't worry about it. We'll figure out all that stuff as we go on. All right? Then I'm going to come in and take another text view, put one here, then I'm going to put one here, then I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to put one here. All right? So in other words, I'm putting them in a row at a time. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 0, 2, 1, 3, 0, 3, 1. That makes sense? All right? Now, if you don't do it that way, if you say, if I don't do it that way, will it not work? No. It doesn't mean it's not going to work. To me, that just makes the most sense to do it in that order. All right? And again, it may look a little screwed up, but, all right, a couple things about this. And I want to go back to, in the book, I think they tell you what they want you to name the different things. All right? So, like for example, this one right here. If you look on, of course we have different books. They call this one here, it's the bill amount, right? So the bill amount will be bill amount label is what they call that one. That's what they suggest. All right? At least that's what I've got in my book here, but we're going to see as we go on. All right. We've got the tip percent label over here. So tip percent label. All right. This right here is going to be, what else do we have? We've got total amount label. So that one here will be total amount label. All right. And what else do we have? We've got percent, and they call that tip percent. So this will be tip percent label. All right. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are all those labels. Now, you can call them X, A, B, C, and D. It'll work just fine if you do that. But the reason, too, that I'm calling these labels, these right here, these are never going to change. Would you agree with that? All right, so we're putting the label on the end to kind of show that's what these are. All right. Now, I don't even remember exactly what they told you to call the rest of these. But if you wanted to do something that was, at least fairly, sticking with that, this could then be called bill amount right here. This could be bill amount text view, tip percent text view, tip percent, and that's just tip label. I guess we don't have 2 tip percent labels. That's tip amount label. All right. So we can call these, if we want to, the ones down here, we can call this one tip percent text view. Okay, this one can be tip amount text view. And I don't care if you make them capital, all lowercase, it really doesn't matter. And total amount text view. All right, then this one here can be called plus button. The one next to it can be called, I guess that one's minus button. And minus button. All right, and this can be called bill amount edit text. Now, if you don't like my names, use your own. But can everybody take 5 minutes and build the interface? All right, maybe you started on it already anyway. And again, if you don't like that, then what you should do, if you take a look on the screen right now, I'll come right back to this, but if you look here, they say add the widgets, but sooner or later, they'll show you some text, all right, and there's their names, okay? See them right here? So if you want to use those names, then use those names. The advantage of using those names is that's what they're probably going to use in code. All right? Yes.
There's more to the emulators. You gotta go into like your group options.
To do what?
To turn on visualization.
Yeah, if you have an Intel computer.
If
you have an Intel.
So again, if you don't want to use those, let me get rid of these. These are the names that the book uses. The advantage of using their names, that are shown right here, and that might be hard for you to read. All right, but the advantage of using those names is those are the names that they're going to use in code. Did everybody hear that? So, I don't know if you can read that. I don't know if it'll allow me to make it. There. Is that big enough everybody can read it? All right. Hopefully you can map the stuff up, this with this, to see what's what. All right. You do. You just might have to look for it. It should be in there. You might have to go in to click the all and then look for it.
Is there any trick of putting them on there, or drag them anywhere, if there's any relative?
Just drag them so it looks pretty much like that. What we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up changing some more stuff in the XML file. Then it'll look the way it should look. So, I mean, that's a half-assed answer to your question, but that's the way it is.
No, I know we're going to reposition them perfectly, but I'm not like initially.
No, there's not. I mean, even the guidelines and stuff in there aren't very good. They're not nearly what they are like in Visual Studio, I don't think. Now, if you look up on the screen here, this is the name of the control right here. Everybody see this? This is the text for the control that's over here. But where are we going to put that text for those controls? In our strings.xml file, right? So that's all the stuff that you should be putting into the strings.xml file. I'm going to leave that up there for about 10 minutes or so, and then I'll go back and I'm going to do it. All right, I'm going to do the same thing that I'm asking you to do. In fact, I'm going to do this. Print screen. The text boxes, when you say the text boxes, you mean there's an edit text. The labels should just be under text view, just a regular text view.
And then a text box is,
Yes. The text box, what we have used as a text box, that's the edit text.
but isn't there something we drag on as a text box?
The only text box that we have in there is the one at the top. All the other ones are text views. You all realize too, if you take a look up on the screen there, it shows you AB there. See that? AB, AB, etc. That just means that those are all text views. And here it says OK. That means those are buttons. And then they've got whatever that is. That means it's an edit text. This is the way that this particular author has chosen to name his controls. That doesn't mean you have to do it that way. But if you don't use that naming structure, when we get to where we're adding the actual code, everybody with me? When we get to where we're adding the actual code, you're going to have to change every line of code, all right, to use your names. Now, if anybody wants me to, I can print this out, but I've got, see that? I've got that copy. You'd rather have that. You know, sometimes it's easier to work off it next to you as opposed to constantly be turning around. Like I said, I'll give you till about 2:15 or so, and then I'm going to build it. All right? I'm just going to do exactly what I'm asking you to do right now. Oops. Yeah.
One text view and the other one doesn't have text view in front of it.
I don't know. Now, let's say, if you look up on the screen here, just everybody stop for a second. I'll come right back to this page. But let's say that, you know, you're thinking there's got to be a better way to do this. There just has to be. All right? Well, I'm going to go towards, you know, I don't know what page it's on, but there's the string file. If you look, so you can set the string file up yourself. You can use these names. That's what I'd suggest that you do. All right? But if you're like dragging stuff over and, man, mine doesn't look like it. Mine kind of looks like it threw up on the page. And I just hate this. Well, if we go a little further in here, what you're going to see is at some page or other in here, they're going to give you the XML file. So everybody see this? This is on page 107. Please look on the screen. This is page 107 in the book. If it's too hard for you to drag and drop or you're going nuts, you can just grab those 3 pages and start typing that stuff into your XML file. All right. Some people would rather work textual. Some people would rather work visual. Either way will work. And again, if it doesn't look like it's totally lined up on the screen, don't nitpick about it. We're going to fix all that.
Update usages as well as update all XML references and Java RTO references. Yes.
Well, did you try to change the name of something?
The ID.
Yes. Yes, then you want to. Because that'll go through all of your code. You probably haven't written any yet, but that'll go through all your code. And anywhere you're referencing it with the old name in the code, it'll change it to the new name.
User plain text one.
Okay.
Also, got, what's the difference between editing the text value on Widget? Between just writing in something and then namely what it is, going to menu and add new resource.
I want to make sure I'm answering the question you're asking. Are you asking what's the difference between using the strings.xml file or just putting it right into the text here?
Yeah, like just writing it right there.
You could put it right in here, all right? But the problem is if you put it right in there, if you put it in like this, that's the name of the entity that exists in the strings.xml file. It's not the file. That's like a pointer to it. All right, hopefully you've gotten a chance to put it all in, or at least most of it in. All right, so I'm going to go back here, and right here, I'm going to just start doing stuff. In other words, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to grab a text view, and put it right there. Okay, there's my first text view. Okay, then I want an edit text, and I think you're right with what you said. I'm going to look down here. Oh, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there, there.
Trying to match the icon.
Yeah, and I didn't see it either, so that's fine.
You figure out how to find that other text.
No, but what I'll show you what I did. What we want to be able to put in there is a number. So what I did was I went in and chose, it's right here. I chose a number. Actually, I should have chosen a number decimal. I don't think I did. Okay. I just chose that. It'll all work out in the end. All I can tell you. All right. Now, I'm going into my strings file, and I'm going to put the same stuff in here that you have on page 101. Everybody hear that? I'm going to put all that stuff in there. Okay? I'm not going to leave that up there. I want to type mine in, and then I'll leave it back up. All right? And so you should be able to turn, I gave you that PDF. All right? I'll tell you what. Some of you are making faces. Then you just do it. That's fine. There you go. I'll leave that up there for a couple minutes, and then I'll do it myself. All right? Pardon? You should already have a strings.xml file, but you may or may not have put this stuff in there. All right? Yeah, you do have a string. You always have a strings.xml file. If you drag what in? Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you dragged in all the buttons, you've got everything here. This is going to take that label that you put in there, the first label that just said label on it or something like that. It'll change it to tip calculator. If yours already looks the way it's supposed to look, then don't do anything. So I'm just going to pause this right here on the tape, and I'm letting everybody, I'm giving them a few minutes to go and put this stuff in their strings.xml file.